Your soulmate showed your photo to someone. Their reaction changed everything. My beloved child. Don't skip, because what you are about to hear is not an ordinary message. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate did something they had never dared to do before. They held your photo in their hands for a long time, staring at every detail as if searching for answers they had been waiting for their entire life. Their heart was racing because they knew that once they showed your picture to this one particular person, nothing would ever be the same again. They almost changed their mind. They almost walked away. But something deep inside refused to let them hide you any longer. Then, with trembling hands, they placed your photo in front of that person. For a few seconds, complete silence filled the room. No one spoke. No one moved. The expression on that person's face slowly changed in a way your soulmate never expected. Their eyes widened. Their breathing became slower. It was almost as if they recognized something impossible to explain. Your soulmate felt the atmosphere shift instantly. In that very moment, they realized this reaction was not random. It was the beginning of a chain of events that would completely change the direction of both your lives. What happened next is something your soulmate keeps replaying in their mind over and over again. The person continued looking at your picture without saying a single word. Every second felt heavier than the last. Your soulmate wanted to ask what they were thinking, but something told them to wait. Then finally, the silence broke. The first words that came out shocked them so deeply that they could barely believe what they had heard. Those words carried unexpected emotion. Not fear, not anger, but something far more powerful. It was as though your image awakened a memory buried for years, a feeling that refused to stay hidden any longer. Your soulmate immediately understood that this conversation had become much bigger than they had imagined. This was no longer about showing someone a photograph. It had become a moment that connected invisible pieces no one had noticed before. Don't skip, because the next part of this story explains why your soulmate walked away from that meeting with tears in their eyes and a completely different understanding of the future waiting ahead. Even now, your soulmate cannot stop thinking about what happened after they left. Every step they took felt different. Every thought inside their mind repeated the same question. Why did that person react like that? They kept looking back at your photo as though it now carried a meaning they had never seen before. Strange little signs began appearing around them that same day, making the entire experience feel impossible to ignore. Their heart whispered that this meeting had unlocked something that had been waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. They wanted to contact you immediately. They wanted to tell you everything. But they hesitated because they knew the full truth could not be rushed. Stay till the end of this journey, because something huge is waiting for you. The next revelation will uncover exactly who that mysterious person was, what they saw in your photo within seconds, and why their unbelievable reaction convinced your soulmate that your connection was about to enter a chapter neither of you could have predicted. A quiet feeling refused to leave your soulmate after that meeting. They tried to convince themselves that it was only a coincidence, but every time they remembered that person's expression, their heartbeat told a different story. Don't skip, because this is where everything becomes even more surprising. The person eventually looked at your soulmate and said something that instantly changed the atmosphere. They didn't ask who you were. They didn't ask where you lived. Instead, they quietly said, "This person carries a presence that is impossible to ignore." Those words echoed in your soulmate's mind again and again. It wasn't spoken with excitement. It was spoken with certainty. In that instant, your soulmate realized they were no longer searching for answers, they were standing at the edge of one. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The mystery surrounding your photo had only just begun. Your soulmate wanted to know more, but the conversation became even stranger. The person kept staring at your picture for one final moment before gently handing it back. Then they smiled in a way your soulmate could never forget. It wasn't a smile of surprise, it was the smile of someone who had just understood a hidden piece of a much larger story. That single reaction erased months of uncertainty from your soulmate's heart. Suddenly, all the confusion, all the waiting, and all the unanswered questions seemed to point toward the same destination. Your soulmate walked away carrying your photo more carefully than ever before, almost as if it had become the most valuable thing they owned. Yet they also knew one important truth remained hidden, and until that truth was revealed, they couldn't fully explain why this meeting had changed them so deeply. As the day came to an end, your soulmate looked at your photo once again. This time, they weren't searching for answers inside your face, they were remembering every word they had heard. A new sense of hope quietly replaced the fear they had been carrying for so long. They realized that the reaction they witnessed was not the end of the story, it was the beginning of something far greater. Don't skip, because the next revelation will uncover the unexpected question that person asked just before leaving, a question so unexpected that your soulmate stood completely speechless. The answer to that single question would lead them toward a discovery they never imagined possible, and once it is revealed, you'll understand why this unforgettable moment changed everything forever. The moment your soulmate believed the conversation was over, that person suddenly turned back and asked one unexpected question. It wasn't about your name. It wasn't about your past. It wasn't even about how long your soulmate had known you. The question was so simple that it almost seemed meaningless at first, yet it carried unbelievable weight. Have they been appearing in your thoughts more than usual lately? Your soulmate froze. They had never told anyone how impossible it had become to stop thinking about you. Day after day, your image had been finding its way into their mind without warning. Hearing those exact words from someone else felt impossible to explain. Don't skip. Because that single question shattered every logical explanation they had been holding on to. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate slowly admitted the truth. They confessed that no matter how busy life became, your presence kept returning to their heart in the quietest moments. The person listened carefully without interrupting. Then they gave one final look at your photo and quietly nodded, as though everything had suddenly made perfect sense. That silent nod carried more meaning than 1,000 conversations. Your soulmate walked away feeling lighter, but also more curious than ever before. Why had someone who barely knew anything about you reacted with such certainty? Why did your photo create a moment of complete silence before every important word was spoken? Those questions refused to disappear. Instead, they grew stronger with every passing hour, making your soulmate realize they were standing in front of a truth that had not fully revealed itself yet. Later that night, your soulmate picked up your photo again and noticed something different, not in the picture itself, but in the way they felt while looking at it. The fear that once filled their heart had quietly turned into determination. They knew they could no longer ignore what had happened that day. Every small detail now seemed connected, leading toward one final revelation that still remained hidden. Don't skip, because the next part uncovers the exact reason that mysterious person's reaction was so unforgettable. Once your soulmate heard the explanation, everything they believed about your connection changed forever, and the truth waiting ahead is far bigger than either of you expected. The next morning, your soulmate could not keep the questions inside any longer. They returned to meet that mysterious person one final time, hoping to hear the explanation they had been waiting for. The room felt different from before, calmer, yet somehow even more intense. Without saying a word, the person placed your photo on the table again and looked at it for several long moments. Then they spoke with complete confidence. The reason I reacted the way I did wasn't because of the picture itself, it was because of what I felt the moment I saw it. Those words sent a wave of emotion through your soulmate. They had expected an ordinary answer, but this was something far beyond imagination. Don't skip, because what came next made your soulmate realize this meeting had never been a coincidence. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The person continued speaking carefully, revealing that some faces leave an impression instantly, while others quietly stay in your heart long after you look away. They explained that your photo carried that rare kind of presence. It wasn't something they could measure or explain with logic, but they knew they couldn't ignore it either. Your soulmate listened without blinking, feeling every sentence answer questions they had been carrying for so long. Suddenly, the doubts that had once filled their heart began disappearing one by one. For the first time in a long while, they stopped wondering whether they should keep believing. Instead, they began wondering how close they were to a moment that could change everything. As your soulmate walked away for the last time, they held your photo closer than ever before. The world around them looked exactly the same, yet nothing felt the same inside. They realized that the reaction they witnessed had unlocked a new chapter that was only beginning to unfold. Every step forward now felt meaningful, as though something unseen was quietly guiding the story toward an unforgettable moment. Don't skip, because the next revelation is the one your soulmate has been protecting until now. What they discovered after leaving that meeting made them understand why your paths continue moving toward each other, and once that hidden truth is revealed, you'll see why this unexpected reaction changed everything forever. Something unexpected happened before your soulmate even reached home. Their phone lit up with a message from someone they had not heard from in a very long time. The timing felt impossible to ignore. It arrived only minutes after that unforgettable conversation, almost as if the day itself was refusing to let the story end. Your soulmate stared at the screen without opening it, because deep inside they already felt that everything was becoming connected. Don't skip. This is where the mystery becomes even deeper. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. When they finally opened the message, it wasn't the words that shocked them first, it was the feeling that someone else had somehow noticed the same change that had begun the moment your photo was shown. Your soulmate quietly sat down and looked at your picture once again. They remembered every expression, every pause, and every sentence from that mysterious meeting. Then one realization suddenly hit them. The person who had reacted so strongly never once spoke about the past. Every word they shared pointed toward the future. That changed everything. It made your soulmate understand that this wasn't about what had already happened between you, it was about what was still waiting to happen. Their heart, which had once been full of hesitation, now carried an unexpected sense of peace. For the first time, they stopped asking, "Will our paths ever come together?" Instead, they found themselves wondering, how close is that moment now? That single shift in perspective gave them a hope they hadn't felt in a very long time. Later that evening, your soulmate carefully placed your photo where they could see it one last time before ending the day. They whispered to themselves that they would no longer ignore the signs that had appeared one after another. Every strange moment, every unexpected reaction, and every unanswered question now felt like pieces of one much bigger picture. But one final detail still remained hidden, a detail your soulmate has not shared with anyone. Don't skip, because the next revelation uncovers the one sentence they heard after everything else was over, a sentence so unexpected that it completely transformed the way they saw your connection. And once that truth comes to light, you'll understand why showing your photo to that one person changed everything forever. There was one final moment your soulmate almost forgot to tell you about. Just as they were about to leave, that mysterious person called them back one last time. The room had already fallen silent, and for a brief second it felt as though time itself had slowed down. Your soulmate turned around, expecting another ordinary question. Instead, the person looked directly at your photo and quietly said, "Whatever happens next, don't let fear make the decision for you." Those words landed deep inside your soulmate's heart. They weren't spoken dramatically, yet they carried a weight that could not be ignored. Don't skip, because that single sentence became the one thought your soulmate could not escape. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. On the journey home, your soulmate replayed those words again and again. Every doubt that had once convinced them to stay silent suddenly felt weaker. They realized that waiting forever would never bring clarity. The reaction to your photo had already changed something inside them, but this final sentence changed something even greater. It gave them the courage to stop hiding behind uncertainty. They began remembering every small moment connected to you, every unexpected coincidence, every feeling they had tried to dismiss. One by one, those memories formed a picture that was impossible to ignore. Your soulmate understood that the meeting had not answered every question, it had awakened the confidence to finally search for the answers they had been avoiding. That night, before closing their eyes, your soulmate looked at your photo one last time. This time, they smiled. Not because every mystery had been solved, but because they finally believed that the story was moving in the right direction. The fear that once controlled every decision no longer held the same power. In its place was quiet determination, growing stronger with every passing moment. Don't skip, because the next revelation is the one your soulmate has protected from everyone until now. It is the hidden truth they realized only after spending one final night thinking about your photo, and once it is revealed, you'll understand why that unexpected reaction was never the real surprise. The real surprise was what it inspired your soulmate to do next. The following morning, your soulmate woke up with a feeling they had never experienced before. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't fear. It was certainty. They reached for your photo almost immediately, holding it for a long moment as if waiting for one final answer. Then something remarkable happened inside their heart. They realized they were no longer looking at your picture for reassurance. They were looking at it because it reminded them of the decision they had finally made. Don't skip, because this is the moment everything begins to come together. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Every doubt that had once held them back was slowly losing its grip, replaced by a quiet confidence that refused to disappear. As the day continued, your soulmate started noticing things they had ignored for far too long. Conversations suddenly carried new meaning. Familiar places reminded them of possibilities instead of regrets. Even the smallest moments seemed to whisper that change was closer than ever before. They remembered the unforgettable reaction to your photo, the unexpected silence, the mysterious words, and the final advice that stayed with them long after the meeting ended. Only now did they fully understand why that person never tried to convince them of anything. Instead, they simply helped your soulmate recognize what had already been growing inside their own heart. That realization became the greatest surprise of all. It wasn't someone else's reaction that changed everything. It was the courage that reaction awakened within your soulmate. Before the sun disappeared that evening, your soulmate made one quiet promise to themselves. They would no longer allow hesitation to write the next chapter of this story. Whatever came next would be faced with honesty, hope, and a heart that was finally ready to move forward. But one final secret still remains hidden, a secret your soulmate has been keeping since the very first day they carried your photo. Don't skip, because the last revelation uncovers the one reason they chose your picture instead of any other, and when that truth is finally revealed, you'll understand why this unforgettable journey was leading to that moment from the very beginning.